Yeah. Moses had a staff, David had a stone. The disciples changed the world, and they started out alone. You don't need perfection, you just need surrender. God can use a willing heart to change the world forever.
Hey, this is Aaron of Watch Missions Live, and on this episode, I'm just updating about a God story for Watch Missions Live again. As some of you know, if you're listening at all, I'm telling the stories as we're building and we're growing because I love what God's doing, and I want to share it with you so that you guys can build and grow alongside of us, almost like vlog style, just telling you what's going on so you can be a part of it, or you can decide you don't like what we're doing and move on, and that's perfectly all right too. But today I wanted to talk about specifically the Hope Center in Plano, Texas. When we started Watch Missions Live, it was God says you're going to pick this up and do this thing. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And that's it, right? It was a podcast and it was telling God stories. When God said pick it up, don't put it down, that's all it was. And I thought, I can do that from a laptop from anywhere. Like $30 a month, we can have a podcast and we don't need an office and everything else. But very quickly after that, God said, this is going to be a global thing. And it's something that's going to change things around the world. And I didn't know what that means. And we still don't fully know what that means. But I felt like that was what God was saying at the time. And then he started bringing people, the right people with skills and talents in the specific space. Because when he said this is going to be a global thing, I thought, man, that's going to take money and resources, then that's not necessarily my strong suit, right? Like money management and things like that is not one of my big things. I don't like analytics and reports and tracking and everything else. I'm a storyteller and I'm hands and feet and I love doing the work and serving people. And so if you say this is going to be a global thing, Lord, then I trust you, but bring me the people that have the skills to make the thing happen because I'm hands and feet. I'll do what you ask. I'll continue to move forward. But everything that I don't know how to do, I just give us the people, right? Give us the people that know how to do it. And immediately we started getting the people with skills in managing the nonprofits, right? Our CFO, Margie, she has a decade of experience of overseeing nonprofits and all the financial side of everything. And then Stuart, our chief advancement officer, he's raised tons of money for real estate deals and he wants to do something kingdom with it. Like God started bringing people with skills and talents and abilities at a very high level to take us and start building what it is that God wants to do, the global thing that he's talking about. And so something that was brought up with our team as we started to have our team meetings was that we needed to get into the Hope Center. And I had not heard of the Hope Center, but it's a physical office in Plano. And what it actually is it's 185,000 square foot building that is basically like a co-working space for Christian nonprofits. That's what it was designed for. The building itself is a nonprofit for Christian nonprofits to work out of. And I believe there's like 62, 67, something like that. Don't quote me. I'm going off the top of my head here. I think there's 62 or 67 Christian nonprofits working out of that building right now in Plano, Texas. And so Stuart knew somebody that was in there and he was like, I think it'd be really good if we were grounded and planted right here where God's put us so that people could walk in and they could see that we're legit and they could see that we're actually doing something. It's not just Aaron at home with a computer doing a thing. And I'm like, well, God's brought the people together. And if we all feel like it's something that we're supposed to lean towards, then let's go check it out. So Stuart and I go down to tour the building and check it out. The guy that he knew was no longer there. So we were brought to the building and the guy was not there, but we were there. So we went ahead and toured the place and looked around. And the place is amazing. Like if we're telling God stories, there's 60 plus Christian nonprofits that are working out of that building. And their goal is to advance the kingdom, right? They're all doing ministry in some facet that's spreading out into the world. And they're working from that one location. And I just thought, man, if I walk the halls here, there's so many God stories. And at this point, God had started opening our eyes that we were supposed to multiply missions. It wasn't just telling God stories, but it would be teaching systems to missionaries and helping them solve the problems wherever they're at to help them multiply. And when I say multiply, I mean to where it doesn't fully revolve around one person. If God gives you a ministry or calls you to start an orphanage or dig wells around the world or a medical center or watch Missions Live and teach missionaries how to multiply, you shouldn't be the only person that does it, because if so, it fully revolves around you. You're the person. And so how do we multiply it? Well, it can't multiply if it revolves around one person, right? It'll always belong to that one person. And when that one person dies or retires, it stops. And this happens a lot with missions. And so we really felt like we were going to help teach missionaries how to turn it into God's ministry to where it can live on past them, right? What happens when the person who started the orphanage retires? Well, if it's built properly and if they were intentional about it, then maybe it could live on past them, right? And that simply takes a shifting of mind of like, how do I not be the one that has to run the orphanage? How do I not be the one that it all revolves around so that it could stand on its own and that when I retire or pass away, that it continues? And so we had already started to have our mind and our eyes open to this. And so when we're in the Hope Center, I'm looking at it going, man, there's so many God stories in these walls that I could just walk around and talk to people and just line them up and just tell God stories all day long. But then every one of them is also a nonprofit that is trying to do things in the world to advance the kingdom. Surely some of them need help. I'll bet there's so many people in this building that we could help by just being here and connecting and networking. How many of these people are out doing missions around the world that can't figure something out? That if that is our purpose, is to help them accomplish their purpose, then being in the same building would allow us to build that relationship, figure out what they need, and help them start creating solutions quicker. And so overall, the building and the place and everything was just like, wow, this would be amazing to be here. And if you've never been down there, they do a very good job. Like the whole building is very nice. There's a cafe in there. There's a event center in there. There's a kitchen and everything in the facility. So with the event center, if you have an office in the building, you can use the event center. Well, in the future, we will be hosting live events where we'll bring missionaries in and train them on site and then send them out. Instead of us needing to rent or own a facility big enough, we can simply bring them in and do up to 400-person events right there inside the Hope Center. And we could do catering right there inside the Hope Center. So it extremely drops our costs of an event way, way down by being in there, because we can do it all in-house without having to own a building that big or rent a building that big. And so there's so many benefits of just being there. One, for us to be able to host our events. Two, being able to help so many nonprofits and missionaries and ministries all in the same building that quick. And three, just having hallways full of God stories to be able to tell. So there was like benefit after benefit. Well, as they toured us around, she was telling us that so many people are interested in being there, but that there's not a lot of offices that come available very often because people move in and then they stay. And once all the offices are full, of course, the building's full. And so she had told us that some people have waited, or one particular person anyway, had waited 7 years to be able for an office to come up to be able to move in there. And I was like, that's crazy. You know, there wasn't any offices available that would be closed off. And since I do things like this with the podcast and Zoom meetings, and we actually have an online community and weekly missions mastermind calls where it's like on Zoom talking loud and helping people brainstorm through things on the whiteboard and stuff like that. I couldn't use like an open air office, right? Where there was no ceiling. I had to be in something that was closed in so that we weren't annoying everybody around us, yelling at the computer all the time. And so we really needed a closed in office, and there just weren't any available. And, there's people that have waited 7 years to be in there and there's no offices available. We're like, well, okay. Well, if God wants us in there, if it was a God thing, then we'll get in there. But, we'll just keep checking back in and see what happens. It wasn't 30 days after that. She sends me, the lady who's kind of organizes things on there, she sends me an email and she said, hey, the office that you guys were interested in, because there was one particular office where we're like, we like this section of the building, and that office would be about perfect. It's not huge, but it would allow a couple people to be able to work, have a full podcast studio, cut off and quiet to where we're not bothering anybody else. Like that office would be perfect. and we kind of joked about, would they be interested in moving, to where we can get it? And she was like, not really, they're just kind of joking by. 30 days later, she sends me an email. She's like, that office that you guys were interested in just came available. Are you interested? We're like, we just got our nonprofit set up like 2 months ago. We haven't raised any money. We haven't done anything. Let me put some feelers out and see what happens. Because, some people have waited 7 years to be in there, and now the office we're interested in is coming available. Coincidence? Godsidence. So, I put some feelers out and I was like, I need somebody who's willing to front us the money for the whole year for the office, because we got to sign a 12-month lease, right? We need somebody to say, we'll loan you the money for the office for the whole first year, but it's 0% interest and there's no payments or anything. We're just basically going to give you the money and then you just pay us back as God starts to provide and as funds start coming back in. Then we could say, we've got the office for an entire year. We know we can cover the expenses to where there's not any actual like stress or debt on the ministry. It's like, we're not going to take out debt or anything, but we want to make sure that it's taken care of. So if we could find somebody to just front us the money for the year, then we could sign the lease and get in there. And if not, it's all right. No big deal. God will provide this or something else. And so it literally didn't even take 24 hours of just asking a few people and somebody goes, yep, we'll take care of that. It's like, awesome. So I call them back. I'm like, hey, we're interested. We'll take it. We've got somebody willing to like front the whole year. So we know we're good. We've got the money. We got the stuff we need. And so we go through and we start filling out the paperwork to get in there. And they need our determination letter from the IRS for our nonprofit, right? To be able to move in. Well, the IRS sends us that and it gets returned to sender. So we never got the physical copy. And so when we call to check in the IRS, like, hey, how come we haven't got our determination letter yet? They're like, looks like it was sent out and then it was returned. And we're like, oh, well, we don't know why that happened. How do we get another copy? And they're like, well, you go to the website and you can request it on this form, but the button's broken on the website, so the form won't submit. And so we're not able to resubmit the form to actually get the determination letter. And they're like, or when the website updates, the irs.gov website, when it updates, your information will show up there that you're tax exempt. You'll be able to go in and you'll be able to click to print it and be able to print out your determination letter there. We're like, okay, well, the button's broke online, so we can't request a new one. The person apparently that I was talking to on the phone after an hour wait can't get me a new one. And so I have to wait for the internet to update. Well, then when the website updates, it says, we are tax exempt. And there's a publication 78 that says, you can trust these people. They're tax exempt. The IRS says so. They can give tax-free or take tax-free donations and everything else. So all of that stuff is legit and ready to go, but there's no button for the determination letter. And so I'm calling back the IRS now to try and be like, hey, it updated. The button still broke. We still can't get the thing. How do we get our new letter? And from that point on, it's been waiting on hold until the IRS recording says, hey, we can't serve you because of high volume. Try back again later. And they just keep hanging up on me. So for now, we're waiting for this determination letter because we can't get into the Hope Center until we have this one determination letter. And at the Hope Center, she has continued to hold the office for us now for like over 2 months. And I bring all of this up because, one, I didn't think we needed a physical office, right? I don't want to spend unnecessary money that we don't need to. But then God puts people in my life to be a part of what we're doing that are like, no, we see a bigger vision than you do. And we're all growing together and this is going to be a bigger deal. We need to be planted. And so we go and check out an office that is not available until about 30 days later. And then the exact one that we're after is available. And they have waiting lists of people trying to get in there. And yet now they're holding it for us. Like there's so many things that line up how God is doing things and God is continuing to connect these dots for us and hold things for us and provide for us to show us this is where I have you and this is what I'm doing for you. And so it's just another cool story as God continues to move and continues to grow us and continues to move us into what it is that he's doing and continue to confirm. I like to share the story so that you can start to see how God's lining things up in your life and confirming things in your life and showing you things in your life. and just continue to share the stories so that you can be a part of what we're building as we grow. I'll continue to share and update on episodes like this where it's just me, just giving you a, hey, this is what we're doing. Thank you for your time. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Yeah. Moses had a staff, David had a stone. The disciples changed the world.